Are One Sisterhood, conversation on violence, women and violence.
Today we are going to hear from our panelists. We have 5 questions prepared for them. And inshallah, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions of your own when we get to the end of this. Now, I want to start us out with a clip that we have of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who back in 1994 began his Stop the Killing campaign just before the Million Man March. It's 10 minutes only. I'm not going to show the whole thing. It's only 10 minutes, but it will preface us into what we will be discussing today. Okay? So, please.
Hi.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
The number one influence on young people is young people. Are you listening to me, parents? You, mothers, have become a part of the conspiracy. Let me show you how. Television is number 2. The home is in 3rd place. So in 35 years, the parents have lost control of their ability to influence their own children. But now the courts want to penalize the parents if the children go wrong. Listen, parents. Look, 62% of all black children live with a single parent.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
It's growing fast to 70%. All these single parents are women, but the babies came from a man. Where is the man? See? What did I say Pharaoh's intention was? Kill who? Kill who? The man. And spare who? The woman. You are growing up now in strength and power in America while the black man is getting weaker and weaker, and soon the black man will not be able to do nothing for you, and then you will call for his destruction, and the white man will have you as the booty, the prize for destroying your black man. You become the prize. Now this is something. Black boys value their peers. They value the walk, the hat, the rap, and signifying more than anything else. There's no teacher going to sway these young men to your, what they call, foolish ideas. You teachers are a part of the system that have destroyed them. They don't want to hear nothing you got to say when you coming out of your mouth with the same old garbage that the white man taught you about no George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and a bunch of crackers that don't give a damn for black people. You girls will sit there and listen to that garbage. But the young boys today, they'd rather be in the pool room. They'd rather be in the street. They don't want to hear that no more. George Washington never told a lie. He chopped down the cherry tree. And Abraham Lincoln discovered America with a whole continent of Indians running around in America. In Africa with bones in your nose. Jungle bunnies. Yes, you Negroes were our slaves. Who wants to see that? Who wants to hear that? And you have these highly learned black people going around telling our children, stay in school and get an education so you could turn out and become the fool like I am. Our male culture consists of ego, aggression, athletics, non-communication, and risk orientation. Our ego is large, sensitive, and aggressive, and that's why we walk the way we walk. You girls don't walk like that. The boys, that's their macho, that's their ego. They're sensitive, but they're non-expressive. It's all about being cool. You don't have to talk, just walk. These young men don't want to talk their way out of a problem. Oh, brother, let's sit down and reason this out. No, man, you step on my toe, nigga, please. Mop, mop. They want to express it violently. That's young men. Nothing wrong with your children. There's something wrong with the society. There's nothing wrong with these young men. When I was coming up, we used to play the dozens. This wasn't things that girls did. This was things that little boys do. Your mother. Hey man, wait a minute. You don't talk about my mother. See, you're not supposed to get upset. You're supposed to keep your cool and fire back on his mother until you best him in signifying. And then your boys said, my man was so cool, wasn't he? You don't understand that, women. That's the nature of the man. You can't educate a man the way you educate a woman, and you can't educate a woman the way you educate a man. This whole world is upside down, and God gotta destroy it and set up something new and something better, because this one is an enemy of God.
That's it?
Just an appetizer, that is all.
There it is.
Was that a commercial?
Yes, it was.
There's no more.
You can absolutely watch this on YouTube. It is on YouTube available to you. That was just the 20-minute clip, but there's one for an hour or more. It is called Conspiracy, Youth Gangs and Violence. So, ladies and gentlemen, two gentlemen in here. Okay. We are going to go into our panel discussion, and if I could have my panel members come up and have a seat at the table, I really appreciate that.
The moderator?
Yeah.
Me?
Moderator first.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
My name is Evelyn Richardson. I'm born and raised in Hartford, mother of 7 children and grandmother of 7 children and some extended grandchildren that put me up to 10.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. Yes,
In a
ma'am.
nutshell.
My name is Arjo Winch. I serve as a councilwoman in the city of Hartford. I'm an author of 3 books, a mother, a grandmother, a community activist, and a host of Get Hip and Get a Grip on accesstv.org.
Yes, ma'am.
Cynthia Jennings, a member of the Nation of Islam, Mosque number 14, right here at 2550 Main Street. Also, I'm city council member.
My turn. Henrietta Beckman, president of Mothers United Against Violence, and also coordinator of Circle of Compassion. I'm grandmother of 9, 10. I lost count.
Wow.
But I'm also a community activist and a mother and a wife. Thank you.
Darlene Childs, president of Northeast NRZ, mother, grandmother, resident, all my lifelong resident, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Deanne. And so at this time, I would like to bring up our moderator, Ms. Evelyn Richardson, and she will begin us with our questions.
Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you all for giving me this opportunity to ask the questions to our distinguished guests that's sitting here today. So many from various areas of community work. So my first question is going to be, and anyone that is willing to answer the question, we can start with you and then come down in that order. Okay, the first question is, what are the causes for the violence in our community, in your opinion?
The way I see violence in our community, that people have a really disrespect for themselves, they have a disrespect for their neighbors, and too many of our children don't see life as long lasting. It's like they think they're going to get to a certain point to where 25 is old. So they want to do everything that they can in the 24 years that they have and disregard everybody else around them.
Okay, we'll go with you.
Okay, first of all, I think that our young people do not understand who they are, the greatness that they came from. They don't understand the purpose of their life and why we're here in North America as almost slaves in many systems. And I think that we as African people have really failed to take control of our community, and therefore our children are at risk.
I'll pose the question again. What are the causes for the violence in our community?
Well, I think that some of it has to do along with the parents also, because our parents aren't really teaching the children how to respect one another and how to respect themselves. And also our children, I think they're lost. They have an identity crisis. They don't really know who they are. So if you don't know who you are, how can you love your brother and your neighbor? So that makes it easy for them to go out and, commit these murders or do these crimes that they're doing. So I think it's, we got to get back to God, putting God first.
Absolutely. And I echo everything everyone else says. I believe the first and foremost, God. He's missing. And honestly, being raised without love, all you know is hate. That's what you're going to produce. Hate produces hate. So if you're raised without a good upbringing, I know back in the day, most of us were raised, our parents forced us to go to church. Today, the kids are not being forced. They just don't want to go, they don't go.
That's right.
But I believe what's missing is God in the most cases.
Thank you all. So our second question will be, what are the effects? So we have this violence taking place in our community. What do you think is the effects of that happening?
I believe, if you don't mind me going first,
Not
I
at
think
all.
the effects are broken homes. It starts with single parent home. If the child is being raised by a mother can't teach a boy how to be a man. We can teach them how to respect women, but we cannot teach our boys how to become men, and that's one of the biggest problems. And I credit the women that raise their sons and their daughters, because it's hard being a parent of a single parent of multiple children, different personalities, and then on top of it, you're trying to work and they're in school, so you know your hours are, you're not home because you're working, and your children are in the street, and they're being raised by the neighbors and their children or whatever. It's not like back in the day, it took a village to raise a family or a child. Today, they're not getting the same kind of attention, and I believe also that the adults today walk by kids today. Back in the day, we used to, older people used to stop and say, "Hey, where you going? What you doing? How was your day in school?" Today, the kids don't get that, and when you do stop and say hello, they're shocked.
That's right.
Like, "Oh, you talking to me?"
Exactly.
You know, and they don't know how to respond to that social part of life like what we had coming up.
Yes.
That's just my opinion. I apologize, ladies.
Thank you. No apology needed. Anyone
Well,
else?
I think it tears down our children's self-esteem.
Yes, it does.
A lot of children feel that, nobody cares about them, but we do care about them. It's just that, they got to learn to care about themselves, but if they're not getting that love and compassion in the home or from the school, so, and also they're learning how to be very, very disrespectful, where they don't want to listen to anybody, whether you're telling them right. We ain't telling them nothing wrong, but they don't want to hear right, because that's like, oh, you just old, you old school. No, I've been there, done that.
Amen.
It may just be in a different way,
Right.
but it's the same thing.
You better believe it.
So what goes around comes around, and if they would just listen to us,
Yes, ma'am.
Again, the question is, what are the effects?
Ms. Jennings.
Okay. One of the effects of violence in our community is mass incarceration, the total disrespect of our people. It has to do with massive unemployment, where they feel like it's open season to take away our jobs. Women are unprotected by men because men are incarcerated now, so that now we have children that are out of control, especially our male children, and we have and the other effects are a compromised educational system, and that the teachers that come in are not working to teach our children necessarily. They're coming in for the money, and they're getting what's called combat pay to come into the urban centers. And it doesn't mean you have to teach; it just means you have to show up. Okay, and also the other is massive racial discrimination and disrespect of us as a people, and the feeling that our lives are not important. So therefore, that the children feel like our lives are not important, so they kill each other, and the police department and other social service agencies feel like our lives are not important, so they continue to arrest us in large numbers and kill us off as well.
Yes,
Arjo?
Wow, the list is endless. One of the effects of violence in our community, as somebody mentioned, is broken homes. That people are not willing to have sensible conflict resolution. It always has to end up in somebody being hurt or somebody end up dead. So it's a regular, child abuse. People don't understand that how you relate to your children, that you're being abusive because of the anger or whatever it is that you feel. You have misplaced aggression. You're angry, and then you come home. You take it out on the children who've not done, anything to you to cause that. There's a lack of quality of life, in almost every home. We don't have enough time to spend with our children, because you have to debate between going to work, put food on the table, or spending time with your children. And a lot of times, paying the bills outweighs the time. And then children bullying other children is a big thing going on in our schools nationally, and the policies are what affects children continuing to bully other children. There's effects that says, well, let's talk to you, about so-and-so bullying you. But where's the counseling for the bully? The bully is the one who really has the problem. You shouldn't have to endure what the bully wants to dish out. We should find out why the bully needs to be a bully. Why they feel like, that's a part of the behavior. And then there's no more big mamas. Big mamas like 25, 30 years old. So, she's barely, little big mama. She's barely trying to get her life together, and then her daughter's having kids, or even her sons are having kids. So you get thrust into trying to take care of your children and then your children's children. And it's just hard, like somebody said earlier, it's hard to balance that time and make it good and quality time. And a lot of times, children don't want to listen to the voice of experience. Like I go through this with my daughter and my granddaughter. They always trying to tell me things, and I'm like, you think I grew up and I was already 64? You know? I mean, it was a process to get here. You know, I didn't just wake up and there I was. And then it makes it very hard for my children to get away with things because my mother had 8 kids. So I tell them, you need 8 times what you're trying to do to get over, because we done did some of that. You know, so it's just a lot of things. You know, and discrimination is on the rise. You know, Councilwoman Jennings mentioned that, and we are, you know, back to the 50s and the 60s where we were fighting for our rights as, you know, people of color, and then as women. You know, we're fighting doubly for our rights, you know, as people of color and women. So life isn't getting any easier, but we got to continue to fight.
Arjo's comment brought up something that I read earlier, and it said that the consequences of violence in our communities are more pervasive than one might think. When we think about gun violence or violence in the communities, we usually tend to think of getting help for the perpetuator, the person who committed the crime. But the fact of the matter is that it's affecting a larger range of the community, families, and everyone. And so there has to be a system in place, not, as your word was, not only for the person that's being bullied, but for the bully. Exactly. And in this case of violence in the communities, we not only need to seek that they get help, the perpetuator get, but the victim, the people that witness it, the people who are traumatized, because there are many of us walking around traumatized that don't even know we're traumatized, but we grew up in it. So the next question is, how have you been affected by the violence in our community?
I could tell you the one that where I directly been affected by bullying in our school system is with my granddaughter, and I'm gonna put the school on blast right now. But you know, for the past 2 years, I have been going to her school and dealing with them. You know, about how you get these kids to keep their hands off of, you know, other kids. And so when she retaliates, or I say self-defense, if somebody hit you, then, you know, natural instinct, you're going to hit them back. But then you get punished for defending yourself. And I'm like, nowhere is self-defense a crime other than, you know, in the public school system. And not just Harvard public schools, any public school. Because the policy says that you are supposed to tell an adult. So how often is that adult going to be around when that person is attacking or bullying you? And I would say not often, because the bully is also a perpetrator. So they know exactly when, you know, to attack, because unfortunately they have practice in inflicting pain. And that's why I said we need counseling for the bully, because why do you feel that you should have to inflict pain on somebody else to make you feel better, or whatever it is, you know, that you're feeling? So I'm directly affected, you know, with my granddaughter in the school system and going through bullying, but society is affected because we have 45 that's bullying everybody, and they're just taking it like that's the way it's supposed to happen. You know, because he said it, that's the way it's supposed to be. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. You know, and elected officials that we elect, they need to grow some, you know, and stand up and say, no, that's not right. That's not the America, you know, that we live in. That's not the America that we intend to live in. And he gonna need to go do something else.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else? How have you been affected by violence in the community?
Well, I have been affected by, my son was murdered in 2002, so that has had a great effect on me. But like you say, there's a big problem in our schools with our children being bullied. You have children going to school who really want to go and learn and do their work, and then you have people who just don't like them because they're trying to be somebody.
Exactly.
So my granddaughter was just telling me of an incident the other day. So I said, well, then maybe they need to get together with the bullied girls' parents, talk to them. She says one girl is 7 months pregnant. You 7 months pregnant, why are you out here trying to start trouble with people? But so, you know, they just have their perspectives in the wrong place. Your mind should be more on your education than on, oh, I look better than her, or she's this, she's that, or he's that. You know, and the boys are just as bad. They think that they gotta test every girl that's out there. So, you know, it's a lot of work that needs to be done, you know, as far as getting our children on the right track.
Yes. Anyone else? the question again before I'll take one more shot at it to see if anybody else would like to answer it. If not, we'll go to the next question. How have you been affected by the violence in our community?
That's going to land right over here on me. I was just recently affected. My son was just murdered in the streets of Hartford, February of 2017. So I've been, not just me, my family, his friends, and and what the kids do not understand is that little bit of gripe that you have with someone, and this happened to be a friend of his, a robbery. Like, I mean, this is your friend. Your friend is going to rob you, but not even thinking about who he's robbing. You robbed me. You didn't rob him. You robbed my family. You robbed his friends. You robbed all of us over what? Something that didn't matter? And that's what bothers me, because the kids today, they don't think. They don't think about the effects that it have on other people. And yes, I'm angry. And how do I feel about it? Yeah, I think it's time for us women to stand up and say something, and I'm not scared.
Okay,
I'm saying it to say this. And I wrote a little something for it, so just in case. I put the time for scared, lip trembling, word changing, self-denying, compromising, knee shaking black people is over. It's time for us to get up and say something. Speak up with authority and conviction. You don't have to let these people come and bully you around. You know what's going on. Let the people know what's happening. If you ain't gonna say nothing, sit down and shut up. Because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having, my son was shot in February 18th, and they didn't catch the perpetrator until 2 months, April 20th? 2 months, 2 days later, and you're going to tell me you didn't know where this person was right here in the city of Hartford? Found him in East Hartford? So, yeah, I'm sorry, I get a little emotional because I feel like, no, we have the power to tell the truth, to say whatever is necessary to do what needs to be done, whatever it is, no matter who it may hurt. If you know what's going on, speak up.
That's right.
If you're not going to say anything, shut up and sit down and get out the way and let the police do their job.
I just want to chime into what Darlene was saying, because our family was too affected in December of 2015 when my nephew lost his life 2 weeks before his 28th birthday, out playing cards with friends,
with friends.
People who he thought was his friends. And they were shooting crap, and not only was he winning the game, but then he was talking too, and so there was anger, and then they got into a scuffle, and then he ended up dead over pennies, really.
Nothing. Things that could be replaced. You can't replace a life. This ain't a video game. You
Right.
can't just
Start
shoot people
over.
and think they're gonna get up and walk away. But you took away my future. That was my investment. My son had a college education. He wasn't like just a piece of somebody on the street. He was somebody. He had children. A father of 2. I have to take care of his kids now. And that's what I'm talking about. These are the things that people don't understand. Yeah, I'm angry. I'm angry at the fact my son was born on my birthday. That was my gift. 27 years old. That wasn't no man's. You don't have that right to take a life. Nobody has a right to take a life. Nobody has a right to abuse anybody. Everybody in the same struggle. We here living in North Hartford. We working every day. Ain't no millionaires around here. We all working for the same thing. Trying to. Here we are today, trying to come together for a good cause. This room should be packed. But it's a lot of women out here that feel like I feel. And I apologize for getting emotional, but I lost my tree, my branch. He fell off of this tree. I gave him life. Nobody had the right to take it. And I'm real angry still because as a mother of a victim, if that was the other way around, I would have went and knocked on the door and said, listen, I'm sorry.
Amen.
And that's the thing. We're not getting that compassion even from the other side, because I feel like if it was the parents will come up and say, you know what, my son did that, or my daughter did this, I'm apologizing, then we can show that love to our children, then they won't go out here to try to do the same thing again. But they don't know how to apologize. And if the parent don't know, how do you expect the children to know? So, again, I'm going to let it go, because I got a lot more to say, but go ahead, Piano.
Well,
All All right, and the question is, how have you been affected by the effects of violence in our community?
Yes, how have you been
All right.
affected? Yeah.
First of all, I've become a really dangerous person. And I was a dangerous person for many years. I got raped in high school. And it was really not, it was by a white man, so therefore I was very hostile to white people. And I was really a dangerous person in the workplace or wherever you go. I've also become overprotective of every child that came into my household or came into my life, and in order to protect them and make sure that they were not the victim of this kind of abuse, and especially young people that had been abused. I had one of my young adopted daughters had been raped by 6 of her mother's brothers, and anytime they felt like it. And when she told her mother beat her with beat her with a belt, but blinded her in one eye.
Wow.
So she's still blind to this day, and now she has grandchildren. She can't have a normal relationship because of what happened to her. She ended up in an abusive marriage. But every time one of those men died, I would throw her a party. And I said, we're going to live to see all of them die. And we did. The last one, she said, I'm going to go down to South Carolina and I'm going to watch them throw dirt in his face. I mean, this was how deep that went, because her mother did not believe that she was being abused. You know, and our parents don't want to believe that something horrible like that is happening to their children. So she ended up in foster care. So, I mean, I've become very overprotective of young people that are in that bad situation or faced with that bad situation. I also know that I had PTSD for a number of years behind abuse, and I was in abusive relationships. PTSD is no joke. That's post-traumatic stress disorder, where you don't act normally because you have been so affected by violence that other people are in danger. And it's not just you that are in danger. It's like when you get a woman that's angry, and other people are not safe. Okay, and you take away one of my children. It's gonna be on. And I mean, and I've also become overprotective about the opportunities that our children are afforded, because I had one child and I opened up a school where I just taught everybody how to get through the process and how to get jobs. And one of my children that I had in the school finally got accepted. You know, we got him through training him back, and restructuring his math and his English and all that. Got him into Capital Community College, which was then Hartford Community College, Greater Hartford Community College. And they said they weren't going to allow him back in because he owed $51 from the semester when he was there. And believe me, I could not get $51 from anyone. I didn't have it myself. I begged for them to let him back in. He got killed that week in Keeney Park when he should have been in school. So that's when I realized it's not about education, it's about survival of our children.
Yes, it is.
So, it also creates fearless people, just like Darlene is talking about. You become fearless and uncompromising about other people who think it's all right to go along and get paid off and sell us out. It is not all right, because it affects our whole community.
Yes, it does.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful, thank you all for that. So the next question is, what can, and it's a great segue, what can we women do to affect change?
I think,
and excuse me for 1 second, because I want to jump back on what Darlene just spoke to. You can go further, but this is where what you wrote down with. What can we do? So we want to hear everybody, and you again.
Okay. I'll tell you like this. I was not born to make people feel comfortable, so excuse me right now for feeling the way I feel, okay? So I'm African first. I'm black first. I want what's right for my people first. If my survival means your total destruction, you know who I mean? Then so be it. So they built this wicked system. And who I mean by they, the government, built this wicked system. This is why we're living the way we live. This is why we're in the position that we're in. But you know what? They say two wrongs don't make it right. but it damn sure make it even. I'm sorry, I apologize. All I'm saying is we need to do more as women because we know, we see the problem. We are living the problem. We have to carry the weight for the men, you know, and we're carrying the weight for our children. And this community is not going to change unless we change the community. It starts with us. We control the environment in the house. Our children should not just walk in here and tell you what to do. You should be controlling your child. You gave birth to that child. And the day when, if my child ever came to me and disrespected me in any kind of way, it's over. I would have taken him out. You know, but what I see today, parents are afraid of their children, and that's part of the problem. Parents are waiting for the children to go out and sell drugs so they can get the money to pay their rent, and they're allowing it. Back in the day, if we stole something from the store, our mother made us take it back to the store, apologize and whatever. Today, kids steal something from the store, they bring it home, and the parents get mad because they didn't bring enough for everybody. Like, come on, man. You know, like, what do you expect? Why do you think our children are not just boys but girls too? So, and it's not a boy problem, it's a girl problem because the females are out here getting pregnant at a young age because they're not getting the love from the daddy that they need, so they're looking for love from all the wrong places. I mean, like, it goes on, it's a cycle. And we're, as women, we see it, but even not, I'm not saying anyone here, but women, if we see the problem, why don't we do something to step up? You can't even talk to the kids today. You say something to them, they ready to jump down your throat. And that's the problem, and the parents too. You can't go to school and say, oh, my child did this wrong, and the parents jumping down the teacher's back, but again, that's a different story. But all I'm saying is, we're asking, what can we do to change? I think the women, because God gave women the responsibility to nurture.
That's right.
It's our responsibility as women to raise the kids. And if you don't see the children in the street acting up, step up and say something to that kid. You know, that's how it should be. That's how it was. But we can gain the respect of the children today. All we have to do is be able to relate to them and let them understand that, okay, you don't have to be so serious. Put a smile on your face. Say something. Stop ignoring these kids because they're looking for love. They may not be getting it at home, but they can get it from you in the street.
That's right.
You know, and listen, I can go on and on and on, but I see the problem. My child was getting love. He got loved. He knew how to love. He wasn't a dark kid. He wasn't out there robbing. They robbed him. You know, and it just went bad, and they didn't expect him to do what he did, so they shot him. Shouldn't have shot my child. But if it wasn't for the grace of God, because he found me 10 years ago, he must have knew the big plan, because, you know, God doesn't, he created us with a plan. So he knew this was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen. So he prepared me, took me out of the world 10 years ago to prepare me for that day. Because if it had not been for God, I would have been either in jail or dead myself. So I thank God for giving me grace and mercy to deal with this tragic event, because everybody that know me knew how my sons and I, we are brothers and sisters. We talked about everything, we did everything. So it wasn't like my son was a wayward kid. He was not a wayward kid. So that was my investment. So they took away an investment.
Thank you for sharing that, Darlene. And we're going to come back up this end because Arjo wanted to tackle the question in the beginning. So what can we as women do to affect change?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that Darlene said, that we need to even the playing field. You know, we need to teach our children how to take care of themselves and take care of their sisters and brothers, whether they're related, you know, to them or not. We need to reinvest in our village. Parents need to talk to parents so that we become the parents of the children. So my kids, your kids, everybody's kids know you, they know everybody here. Because I can't watch my kids everywhere they go. I can't see them everywhere they are. And my daughter will tell you, because I have like some of our friends have caught her out wrong a couple of times. And well, why they tell you? Because those are my friends. You know what I'm saying? And they know that I don't approve of that. You know, so they want you to know that when you're out there, that my friends are watching you. Because they know I can't be everywhere. I can't see everything. So we need to reinvest our village and let our children know that, you know, it's all of us who they need to be frightened of. Not afraid of, but frightened that, you know, Miss Sally, Miss Susie, Evelyn, Darlene, McCauley, Cynthia, somebody's going to see you out wrong doing something that you have no business doing, and they're going to report it. It's going to get home before you get home. Back in the day, I don't know how they used to do it. News used to get back to the people, and they didn't have no cell phones. They didn't have cell phones. So I don't know how they used to have them. Okay, you see what I'm saying? But nowadays, they can text you, they can phone you, they can take a picture, send it to you. But back in the day, I don't know how they was working it out, but they always knew. You get home and your mother already knew what was going on.
My mother
There
used
wasn't
to
no
say-
cell phone.
My mother used to tell me I got eyes in the back of my head.
How
do you know? How do you know?
Exactly. And so we need to get, back to that village, because that's what's gonna save our children. And like if you chastise somebody's child, they shouldn't come back and say, why you do that? No, I'm helping you.
Exactly.
Because you were not here when your child did ABC, but I was here. So I took care of that. And the police don't mind arresting our kids. The system is designed to lock them up. That's why they don't let you chastise them at home. Because the prisons are privatized, and it's $50,000 a head, but it's only $20,000 to send them to college. So instead of sending them to college, they send them to prison. And they put that money in their pockets, not our pockets.
Thank you. Someone else?
I feel that that I think that we should try and get prayer back in our schools.
That
Our
too.
kids- Our kids don't have the sense of God. So, like I said again, they don't know right from wrong. I see so many kids who think a lie is the truth. So because they don't know the difference. So we have to get back to teaching them, the way that God says. I mean, that's the only way I can see that we really truly have to go. And we also have to start, we need to get little groups that we can listen to these kids, because they need someone to listen to them. Their parents don't listen to them. The teachers are calling them all kinds of names. And then when you confront the teacher, they're lying.
Yes, ma'am.
But yet still your child is being ostracized and they're not producing. So how can they, be a productive citizen? And there's just too much stress everywhere. Too much stress everywhere. So we need to, really organize. All our groups need to be on one accord. There's just too many people over here, some over there. We all need to get together. We're all women. We're all. Well, even if we're not mothers, we're still a woman. We had a mother. So and these are all our children. They're all our children. So we can't be afraid of them and letting them control us. I'm the mother. I'm the grandmother.
Okay, always.
So we have to go back. We need to go back a little bit. Back just a little bit, where they can learn how to respect your elders. You don't tell a lie. Just little basic things that they need to know to guide them.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I just say one other thing? Sure. And what I also notice is our young people, they like to rank each other. Right? Because that's our famous pastime, ranking. But when you stop and think about what does ranking do?
Make you angry.
It breaks them down and it makes them get into a shell, and it's like, how would you like to be the center of a joke? It's okay when it's a joke, but when it gets too far, then all of a sudden we develop these little things. Right. Like you're walking around, you get into your own shell and you're too afraid to socialize with other people. So that ranking causes them to have these mental insecurities.
Yes. Exactly
and
right.
when you see it, we need to stop it.
That's right.
Because I think when you do that, it tears a person up inside and it causes them to become introverts. And it's not a funny thing because nobody likes to get laughed at. So I think that's where it starts. I think we as adults, we as women, when we hear it, it's funny at first, but don't let it keep happening.
That's right.
And grown people do it too. So it's not just a kid thing, it's an adult thing because kids learn from adults.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And I think the question was, what can we as women do to affect change? First of all, I think we need to recognize our relationship between ourselves and God. And we also need to recognize that our men are our protectors.
Yes, they are.
And our providers, but they are definitely our protectors. And we would not be under attack if we had strong men to protect us.
Yes.
Also, we need to bring our men back into a place of leadership in our homes,
Yes.
and in our communities, in our religious institutions. We cannot allow, and definitely in our schools, you can't even find a black man in school unless he's sweeping the floor. Okay?
Right.
So this destruction, or allowing the destruction of our black men, no, we have to make sure that we don't have to step out front on every issue.
Exactly.
We better do what we can to make sure that the perception is that our men will protect us.
Absolutely.
Okay? And that our men will provide for us.
Right.
And that if you can't go along with that program, then we're not going to deal with you. We're going to deal with you in a very harsh way. We also need to recognize that we need to run our homes. We need to run our schools. We need to run our political systems. We need to stop letting people come in and scam us. We need to stop letting people feed us lies and tell us that it's all right for us to sit here and suffer, and we will be rewarded in the by and by.
Why they rewarded in the here now?
Okay, why they rewarded right now, right?
So we as women need to take our respective roles and know what they are.
Exactly.
And we also need to protect our men. We need to recognize that a black woman cannot raise a black son.
Thank you.
You can't do it without men around.
Yes.
So we have to recognize that that is a critical part of our role, and make sure that their fathers are in the picture. Right now, people are pushing the fathers out of the picture. The welfare department is trying to replace the fathers. The schools are trying to replace the fathers. Nobody wants black men around. Why? Because they're a threat. That's their job. Okay, and so therefore, that's one of the things we have to recognize, that if we don't have men to protect and provide for us, then we don't have a society that we can safely raise our children
Absolutely. That's right. Yeah. And if the black woman could stop belittling the black man and start building up their confidence,
Thank you.
stop cursing out your man in front of your children, because the disrespect falls on the children. They're going to start disrespecting the father. So if the man got some issues, help him out. Pray for him. Help him. If the woman got issue, help her.
That's right.
It goes both ways. We got to stop belittling each other. If we're trying to raise strong, healthy king and queens, we cannot do that if we're putting our men and women down.
That's right.
So I don't like when I see black women out in the middle of the street screaming and hollering at kids, and then I'm looking at them, they screaming and hollering at the man. We've lost our position. God created men first. We come from men. Women does not have that right to be out there belittling men. I'm not saying all men don't deserve it, because some do. But I'm saying for the most part, because some men do some crazy stuff. But all I'm saying is, for the most part, we have good men. And if you're tearing your man down, how do you expect him to be around to raise a child?
That's right.
That's right.
You can't stop tearing the men down. Let them be men. You know, because if the women get out the way and let a man be a man, you'd be surprised what you got in that box.
And I just wanted to say that, I'm sorry.
I apologize.
Go ahead.
But we are on a time limit.
Oh, okay.
We got one more question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Because
All right.
we could go on and on about this.
Yeah, we can.
So this should be a quick question, because it's right to the point. Are we willing to work together regardless of our differences?
I would say yes.
Absolutely.
I would say yes also.
We can start right here,
Yes.
right now.
Exactly.
Can I give you a long answer?
We're on a time restraint.
I'm just going to say this because I have to say this. First of all,
She got her answer ready.
I write my stuff down. We are African American first, right? That means that within our bodies, we have the power to do 360 degrees worth of anything.
There you go.
So
Right.
if by any chance we are the essence of anything, we are Americans, Africans. We can do anything we want. So can we work together?
Absolutely.
So if we have that power to turn around 360 degrees within ourselves, we should be able to run this community and get it back on track.
Yes, right.
All right, so give yourself a hand for being a black woman, because we're the essence of everything, of all things.
And the last question is, what are the next steps to begin to make that change? So we want you all to leave us with some steps. Maybe each of you can offer a step.
A short step.
I'll just say working together.
Yeah. I think that one of the things that we can do is like starting right now with, every woman in this room agree to organize, that we're going to organize ourselves to meet at a location. If it's this location, once a month, once a quarter, periodically, so that we can grow from within these walls out.
Right, that's one. Anyone else have any suggestions?
They told me not to talk.
No, you can talk.
They said don't say anything. I can't say.
Oh, Dolly, you can't say. All right, go ahead.
I'm willing to work with everybody.
All right.
There we go.
I already did.
She said yes.
Oh, you said yes.
Okay, let's go to the audience.
All right. I think what the next steps are is that we have to come up with a plan for how to run our community. And if it, and Arjo was talking about meeting, yes, we have to meet and we need to come together to decide what we need to take over and what we need to do to run our community. We're talking about a coup. We're talking about taking over responsibility for what happens in our community, what happens with our children, what happens in our school system, what happens in our homes. So we need to come together with a plan, or to develop a plan. I think that's the next step, and maybe we should do it in an interactive workshop, not a forum is necessarily, but an interactive workshop, and we could do it here or wherever. But we do need to come up with a plan.
Okay.
Any questions or comments from the audience?
I'm gonna
You're gonna work that?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
wonderful.
I am gonna state a few things, and then I'm going to ask the audience if they have questions.
Oh, wonderful.
First and foremost, we suffer from post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Yes.
That is still very much a part of our makeup. We have not gotten over that. We've never gotten an apology. We've never gotten any of the things we've needed from them. Okay, and so because we haven't and we won't, we need to accept that and start standing up for ourselves and doing something for ourselves. Next, girls need their fathers.
Yes.
That's right.
They need their fathers in order to know that they are loved
Yes.
by a male. A man can love them, not to hurt them, but to love them. That's where their self-esteem comes from, is knowing that they are loved. Next is, we come from God.
All right.
We don't come from men.
Yes.
We come from God
God created us.
first. Okay? And then plan. You have to have a plan to do anything. Just like this coming together, I don't care if it's only a few people in the room. This started with a plan. It was an idea and then a plan.
Right.
You have to plan things. People will come on board over time when they see that you are serious.
Exactly.
Okay? So now, I've said my say. And I open it up to the audience if you have any questions for any of our panelists. Yes.
Hi, good evening, ladies. Deborah Davis. I am very much impressed with all of those answers. You all were spectacular. You were awesome, actually. And I know that you're already working towards those goals. First part of the question is for our councilwomen. And I want to know, how do you think we can, as not just community residents, but as women, mothers, grandmothers, all of the above, what can we do, in addition to what we're doing, further impact the agenda that they have on our city right now that may not, I think a lot of us already know, it does not include us. So I want to know what you think and what are some of the steps that we can take in order to be more proactive instead of reactive. And then my next question would be for our wonderful community activists, which all of you are community activists, actually. Mrs. Beckman, you are the coordinator, president of Mothers United Against Violence, and you also enhance and bring a lot to the Circle of Compassion with the moms. What else can you do in order to make sure that every hurt mother, hurt family member, sister, brother, child, because it's not just the mother, it's everyone in that family is impacted. What else do you think that we should do in order to bring them in? People are walking around, just like Miss Darlene said, hurting. They're in pain, and you don't even know they're in pain. But you can see it when you go, they're like zombies. This whole city is like zombies, and you're walking around. And when you go into our neighborhoods, coming out of the package stores, staying on the corners, everywhere you go, we are in a sick place. What else do you think that we should be able to do in order to reach out to those individuals as well? Because I know that you are the president of that NRZ, and that makes a big difference. So we'll start with the councilwomen first.
Okay. That's a whole lot of questions.
Yeah,
and because my answer will be shorter than Councilwoman Jennings, I know I'm going to give my answer first. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because you know one of the things that these people understand is numbers. Yes. So when Cynthia and I, a lot of times, 2 against 7 at City Hall, we do our part, we do our job, but it would really, really help that if we're out there advocating and fighting for you from that dais, that you're standing out there, when we speak, you don't need to say one word. All you need to do is stand up, and that speaks volumes. When they look out there in that floor and they see all those faces, it don't matter. The guys can come too. If they see all those faces, then they're going to know, oh, okay, well, that represents that vote and 10 more votes, and they start calculating all those numbers, or they're going to start listening to you. But when we're standing up there advocating by ourselves, they don't know who's back here. They don't know that you're there. They don't know that you're home, you're watching, you're listening. They don't know that when I call you, say, yeah, I agree with that. No, they need to see you. So I don't even care if you're not a Hartford resident. When it's time for public comment, the second Monday of every month, just show up and be in the room. 550 Main Street, 6 o'clock. Second Monday every month.
Okay, and thank you, Arjo. That is so true. We need to be visible, not just women. Bring your children and have them testify at public comment. Second Monday of every month, you at 6 p.m., you can talk about any subject you want to talk about. Okay? Get a copy of the agenda. You can call my office, you can call our Joe. You can get a copy of the agenda. I mean, in the first council meeting I ever sat on, we voted on $9 million in grants. Okay? Those $9 million went to somebody to provide services to our people. Okay? And most of them don't look like us. All right? So we need to read these agendas. And if you have a problem, a question, you need to call us or sit down with us. We will be happy to sit down with you, or our staff people who can answer questions about this agenda and what's going to be voted on Monday. This last Monday, we had 2 critical things that were voted on. One was the fracking waste that was radioactive waste that they were planning. We put an ordinance against having it ever come into Hartford. Okay, and that passed. The other one was mass incarceration, an ordinance that passed. So to end to deal with mass incarceration, release the nonviolence out of the prisons, and make sure that our people are freed if they were put in there based on race. 72% of the prison population are African American and Latino, mostly African American. And since we know that it's a violation of their civil rights to arrest such a large percentage of people, okay, we need to recognize that this is another form of slavery. One, number 2, and the reason this resolution was put out now is because these people down in this Capitol seem to not be able to come up with a budget. So we said, why don't you balance the budget by letting the black folks and Latinos that are nonviolent out of prison, giving them expunging their records automatically if they were there for a nonviolent crime, and making sure that you will not be spending $2.6 billion to keep black folks in prison and enslaved. The reason people let slavery go in the South is because they couldn't afford to keep slaves. Why are you keeping them in Connecticut?
$50,000 a head.
More than that. $200,000.
You wanted to know about the circle of compassion. Well, what our circle of compassion is, we have mothers and other women basically who show compassion to us, mothers who have lost their children, or if you just want to come and talk and express yourselves. And we have gone on trips, and you know, these women, they haven't been too far, but we had a spa day, and that was a great experience for them. You know, just to get out of the norm. You know, let people know that there's someone out here who cares. So what we want to do is to bring in more people, because our whole city is hurting.
Yes.
Our whole city is hurting. And it's not just mothers, it's the little kids, kids who don't even know that they had a father, you know, but they're going to be asking questions. All these things, we as a community, we need to embrace each other and to, you know, show a little love and concern for one another, because it's a lot of hurt people out there.
All right, does anyone else have a question that they would like to ask? Okay, I'm coming your way. I'm coming your way.
I have more of a statement. My bookstore, and I live at 677 Blue Hills Avenue on the corner of West Euclid and Blue Hills. And for the last 6 months or so, there's a new crop of people there that are really causing a lot of havoc. And they're much younger than the last group that came. These are very young people. And they come in early in the morning and they stay until night. And on Thursdays and Fridays, it's unbearable. I have called the police, and they have come eventually, and they have gone away. But it's like go away, and they come right back when the police leave. So I really prayed on this as saying to the Lord, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Not as a group, but as a person living in this community, adult person, a senior person. These are children. And my spirit said, put on your armor, Cleo. So I have to tell you, I was scared. I went downstairs and I stood among them. And I didn't move. And I said, I'm tired of smelling that marijuana. I think that's what it is. And I said, you know, there's a better thing for you to be doing. And I don't know what I expected. I don't know if I was saying the right thing. I don't know anything. The Lord just said, put on your armor. So I said, okay, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to try this. But my conclusion was that we must be present.
Yes.
Every single day, one-on-one, we must be present. So I said, should I wear a band? So when I come down there, they go, oh, here comes Miss Cleo. You know? But I didn't sort of have to wear a band because now they know. And they say good morning, and they're very polite. And one man said, hey man, why aren't you in school? And he said, because I didn't want to F blah, 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 and F blah, 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 and F, and I just stopped, and I just looked at him. And I said, not in front of me.
Right.
Not in front of me.
Yeah.
And he looked, and everybody's looking at him. So he has to posture, you know. So he walked away, he turned away, and said, I want to put the So I felt that was
a beginning.
A beginning.
Right.
And I am also part of, actually lead a women's group. And at the last Monday of every month. And we came together to know each other and women's issues. So we haven't gone out there yet because my dream is that when we go down to City Hall, we say, let's go, everybody stands up as one body.
Yes.
And go down to City Hall or do whatever we need to do for in one body. So that's where we are now. And one of our dreams is that young girls will know we're there and we're senior women and come and sit down. And actually, 2 young women say, please, could I come? And I said, you are most certainly welcome to come and sit down. And for us to listen to them and for them to listen to us. And maybe there's some conclusion because we come from a different generation, so we can start understanding each other and come to a consensus and support each other. And so that's what our group is sort of all about. But we need to be in the streets and be perfect as Jesus was perfect. Jesus went into the street. And so we must go into the street and talk to our young people, regardless of how nervous we may be. So,
I think that Cleo makes a great point. You know, she's talking about like she has a group that meets together. Ms. Beckman has a group, that meets together. You know, Sister Shireen has a group, that meets together. So I think that your group and my group, we all need to meet here at whatever time, that is. That the student minister will allow us to come in and bring all of us, together so that we can have these conversations and that we can begin to build this network, and then we take that network that we build here out to other networks, and we go as a group. If we're going to go to the Board of Ed, we all go. If we're going to go to City Hall, we all go. If we're going to the state capitol, we all go. Because when you all go, 30, 40 people at one time, the people see. Not only they see, they listen. And if they're elected officials, they counting. Because that's all they care about, counting those numbers. So when we got to figure out when that's going to be, Sister Lovejoy.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to be very brief, but listening to Arjo, it made me think of something that I
you guys,
thought
Sisters of
about.
Eve.
But I thought
Daughters
about
of
this
Eve.
about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when I was, first getting really deep into what was going on in the community and at City Hall. But I was like, for the most part, the north end of Hartford, we are a religious community. Whether that's Baptist, Pentecostal, Muslim, whatever. We are a people that believe that there's a God, for the most part, So we have all of these different places that we go to worship. We all, I'm not going to say that somebody doesn't care about our state, our state of affairs in this city. Every church that I have went throughout my life, I got saved when I was about 26 years old, and I think I've been to about maybe 5 churches within that time. But every last one of them seemed to have Bible study on Wednesday night.
Yes, they do.
Now,
Ours on Tuesday.
if all of our churches, I don't know what days the mosque choose, but it's a day.
Yes, ma'am.
And whatever those days are, if we're taking that time out, Lord knows I'm not saying don't read your Bible.
Of course.
Or don't study your Bible. That's important too.
Yes, it is.
But if all of them churches can get together on Wednesday night to be in their buildings, get our butts together on Wednesday night, at least one Wednesday out of the month.
At least once a month.
And go
To the street.
Okay.
Amen.
or to City Hall, to the state capitol,
Wherever we
gotta go.
Go together.
Just like my husband.
Where we going, we go
Take it
together.
to the
Wherever we
street.
going, we go together.
So my beloved sisters, first and foremost, I want to thank you so much for lending your voice to this conversation. It's very, very important. Second, I would like to say that we will be doing this again.
Good.
Absolutely, we will be doing this again. And one point I wanted to make is until we begin to teach our people who they really are, nothing that we say or do is really going to make a difference.
Absolutely.
They need to know who they are. And in order to teach them who they are, we got to represent that to them when we come together. I'm sorry. Thank you. So, I'm going to close. Oh, I see your hand. So I'm going to ask that you hold that until we finish this part. Okay. So we're going to close this out by saying that we will be doing this again soon. We're not going to wait too long to do this because it needs to go forward from here. And if no one else has anything that they want to offer at this very moment, we are going to say good night. Thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful,
My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I do business as Light Source Productions. I provide professional services in the area of strategic video communications. First, what we do is we help you craft your message using what I call the rule of the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. We do event documentation, content acquisition, full-scale productions, editing, and of course distribution through our social media television network. And with social media, video is more important now than it has ever been. Whether you're talking big business, small business, nonprofit, church, or just an individual. Let's say you plan you're planning an event, a wedding, whatever the case may be. But let's say a big event, but no video. And you spent all this time, all these hours to put this event on, and maybe 100, 200 people attend the event. But more important than that is that thousands could attend by watching it on social media. But of course, you don't think about this until after the event is over. You can't afford not to capture it for social media. And despite what people think, I am affordable. Give me a call. Let's plan your next video project and share it with the world on my social media television network. I promise you that you will have the attention of one person, me.